With the help of a few doctors, we've started to investigate. And we've discovered that depleted uranium is responsible for these deformities and cancers.
Children dying, cancers, bone cancers, brain tumors, and they can't get any medical care. They may get a treatment today, but not tomorrow, because there's nothing coming in. And one Iraqi mother asked me to take her child back to get medical care for it. It broke my heart. Because we can't even get medical care here in the United States for ourselves. And yet we're the leading nation in modern technology. We use a sophisticated weapon system. We created now a sophisticated illness. But we have no sophisticated means to take care of this.
4 days after the 1998 conference on depleted uranium, the Allies once again began bombing Baghdad. The Vatican's Father Benjamin was there. In December 98, I was in Baghdad, where we filmed the bombing from the Al Rashid Hotel. The impact threw us against the wall, but I managed to save the camera.
Come on! Ali, come on! Where's Ali?
The next day, we visited the bomb sites, along with a number of foreigners who hadn't had time to leave, including 2 Germans. The 2 Germans on December 20th collected a missile fragment, which they then had analyzed in Germany. And this fragment was found to be radioactive. So, not only had DU been deployed during the Gulf War, but 9 years later, the Allies were still using it in the bombing of civilian areas. In fact, throughout the shelling of the Balkans, Iraq was being bombarded 2 or 3 times a week. There have been more than 300 deaths as a result, but the world media has had very little to say about it.
We're very suspicious of the Iraqi claims. We do know that in the 1994 timeframe, Iraq instructed their embassies to go on an information campaign attacking depleted uranium and downplaying the possibilities of any adverse effect from the use of chemicals.
If we want to help the people in Iraq that are reporting increased incidences of diseases and birth defects, if we really want to help those people, the best thing that we can do is focus on what the science tells us may be the causes. The science says it is very unlikely that depleted uranium is causing this. It is very, very unlikely. These are natural diseases that unfortunately occur throughout the population. And again, I'll get back to the common sense thing. We've got places where the natural uranium is very, very high and where it's very, very low. And we just don't see these sorts of things.
And yet these congenital deformities are also found in the offspring of American veterans. In 1994, Life magazine made it their cover story. But strangely enough, no serious study ever followed analyzing how widespread these deformities actually were. Professor Sigvard Horst Gunther, a German epidemiologist and an old colleague of Dr. Albert Schweitzer, tried to make some sense out of these deformities.
Number of Gulf War veteran families are giving birth to children with no eyes, no arms, no feet. They have trouble with the blood and also respiratory problems. Well, if you compare this, you see this Iraqi child has only hands, crippled legs. And this is a child from the United States. They have only the hands like this one and no legs at all. Similar to this. Similar situation. These children are very intelligent, but you see, and it costs a lot of money for the parents, you see, to give some education to these children.
American law prohibits soldiers from suing the government for harm suffered during military service. After the Gulf War, this law was extended to include the harm suffered by family members. Is this why soldiers on active duty won't talk to the media?
If they speak out, who's going to provide medical care for their children anymore? Most soldiers that have children that are deformed like this have to stay in the military so that they can get medical care for their children. If they continue to speak out against the one that feeds them, they won't get any benefits. It's very hard. As soon as you start to make noise and you complain, you lose your benefits. So a man that has a child that is deformed, if he gets out of the Army, what kind of job is he going to get that's going to take care of his child medically? Child has a pre-existing disease. No one's going to insure that child.
The Department of Defense has the clear intent of using depleted uranium ammunition. The United States military wants to manufacture more of it and sell more of it to help their war machine.
The sale of DU munitions is not limited to American companies. It's now a staple of the global arms business. Here we have Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid shopping. He's come to inaugurate the Dubai Air Show with the son of Syrian President Hafez Assad. All the major arms players are here.
Thank you.
Many of the munition systems for sale in this room use, among other materials, depleted uranium. But when we asked more specific questions, most of the dealers chose not to talk about it. No, I don't know about that.
I'm not qualified to talk about that.
It's not nuclear, or I would know. Here, Kosovo and the Gulf War are good publicity for the combat-tested readiness of these new arms systems. Since the Gulf War, depleted uranium has been used for surgical strikes in Bosnia in 1995 and in Serbia and Kosovo in 1999. This is the prime delivery platform for depleted uranium ordnance used throughout the war in Kosovo, the U.S. Army's A-10 tank buster.